partners. Welcome to Cowboy Classics with Scott Paladin. Tonight's episode, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Book 1. Since Troy's assault and siege, I trow were overpast. To brands and ashes burnt that stately burg at last. And he, the traitor proved, for treason that he wrought, was fitly tried and judged. His fortunes elsewhere sought, the truest knight on earth, Aeneas, with his kin, who vanquished provinces and did, as princes, win of all the western isles the wealth and worth alway. Rich Romulus to Rome full swift hath taken his way. First hath he found fair that city in his pride, to which he gave his name, it bears it to this tide. Titius doth dwellings found, turning to Tuscany, and Langobard, a race raised up in Lombardy. But Felix Brutus sailed full far o'er the French flood, and on its banks so broad founded Britain the good in bliss, where war nor wonder fail, and ne'er have done you wis, nor shall both bliss and bale their shifting chances miss. And when that barren bold had Britain made, I trow bold men were bred therein who loved strife well enow, and many a war they waged in those good days of yore, of marvel stern and strange. In this land many more have changed than otherwhere since that same time, I ween. But of all kings who e'er o'er Britain lords have been, fairest was Arthur all, and boldest, so men tell. Therefore I think to shew a venture that befell in his time, which some men for a sheer wonder hold, and strange above all that be of Arthur told. If ye will list this lay a little while in sooth, I'll tell ye, as I heard it told in town for truth with tongue, as it doth stand to wit, in story stiff and strong, in letters fairly writ, the land hath known it long. At Camelot lay the king, all on Christmas tide, with many a lovely lord and gallant knight beside. And of the table round did the rich brotherhood high revel hold aright, and mirthful was their mood. Oft times on tourney bent those gallants sought the field, and gentle knights in joust would shiver spear and shield. Anon would seek the court for sport and carol gay. For 15 days full told the feast was held alway, with all the meat and mirth and men might well devise, right glamorous with glee that rang and racked his wise. Clad glamour through the day, dancing throughout the night. Good luck throughout the hall and chambers well bedight. At lords and ladies fair, each one as pleased and best. With all this world's weal they dwelt, those gallant guests, for Christ no braver knights had faced, or toil or strife. No fairer ladies e'er had drawn the breath of life. And he, the comeliest king that e'er held court, forsooth, for all this goodly folk were e'en in their first youth, and still the happiest under heaven, a king of stalwart will. 'Twere hard with them to even another host on hill. So young the new year was, methinks it was just born. Double upon the dais they served the meat that morn. And to the hall he came, with all his knights the king, and as the chapel choir to end the mass did sing. Loud rang the voice of the clerk, and cantor were aloft. Noel, Noel, they sang and cried the word full oft. And sithing forth they run for hansel fair and free. Their New Year's gifts they pray, or give them readily, and then about the gifts they make debate anew. And ladies laugh full loud, though they have lost, I trow. And all this mirth they made till mealtime came anon. The board was set, they washed, and then in order meet with the noblest eye above, each gallant took a seat. When Gaynor, gaily clad, stepped forth among them all, upon the royal dais, high in the midmost hall. Tyndall swept at her side, and eke above her head, a tapestry of tars and choice Toulouse outspread, and all embroidered fair and set with gems so gay that might be proved of price, and ye their worth would pay one day. Right fair she was, the queen, with eyes of shining gray, that fairer he had seen no man might soothly say. Arthur he would not eat till all were served with food. Glad of his gladness he, somewhat of childlike mood. Changeful life he loved, he liked it not a whit, neither o'er long to lie, or e'en o'er long to sit. So chafed his youthful blood, and ache his busy brain. Also accustomed good, to which the king was fain, through valor established fast, that never would he eat on such high holiday ere yet adventure meet were told into his ear, or wondrous tale enow, or else some marvel great that he might well allow, tales of his father's days, of arms of emprise high, or e'en some knight besought another skill to try, to join with him in joust, in jeopardy to lay life against life, each one on haply knightly play, as fortune them might aid, in quest of honour fair. As was his custom good, when as in court he were at each high holiday, among his courtiers there in hall, fair-faced and free of fear, he sitteth o'er them all, right keen in that new year, and maketh mirth with all. Thus in his place he stands, the young and gallant king, before the royal board, talking of many a thing. Their good Gawain, gay-clad, beside gay nor doth sit, Agravain, dear Main, beyond her as is fit, both the king's sister's sons and knights of valiant mood. High at the table sits Baldwin the bishop good, and Owain, Urien's son, doth with the bishop eat. Those on the dais are served in seemly wise and meet. Full many a gallant knight sits at the board below. See where the first course comes, while loud the trumpets blow, with many a banner bright that gaily waves thereby, and royal roll of drums and pipes that shrill on high. Wild warblings waketh there, and sweet notes rise and fall, till many a heart swelled high within that castle hall. Dainties they bring therewith, and meats both choice and rare, such plenty of fresh food, and so many dishes bare, they scarce might find a place to set the folk before the silver vessels all that savory messes bore on cloth. The guests they help themselves, thereto they be not loth. Each twain had dishes 12s, good beer and red wine both. Now of their service good I think no more to say, for each man may well wot no lack there was that day. Noise that to them was new methinks now drew near, such as each man in the hall were e'er fain to hear. For scarce the joyful sounds unto an end were brought, and scarce had the first course been fitly served at court, when through the hall door rushed a champion fierce and fell, highest in stature he of all the earth who dwell, from neck to waist so square and ache so thickly set, his loins and limbs alike, so long were they and great. Half giant upon the earth I hold him to have been, in every way of men the tallest he I ween. The merriest in his might that e'er a joust might ride, sternly his body framed in back and breast and side. Belly and waist alike were fitly formed and small, and his features fair were sharply cut withal and clean. Men marvelled at his hue, so was his semblance seen. He fared as one on feud, and over all was green. All green bedight that knight, and green his garments fair. A narrow coat that clung straight to his side he wear, a mantle plate above, lined on the inner side with costly fur and fair, set on good cloth and wide. So sleek and bright in hue, therewith his hood was gay, which from his head was doffed, and on his shoulders lay. Full tightly down his hose, all of the self-same green, well clasped about his calf, their underspurs full keen of gold on silken lace, all striped and fashioned bright, that dangled beneath his legs. So rode that gallant knight. His vesture verily was green as grass doth grow, The barron of his belt the blithe stones set a row, that decked in richest wise his raiment fine and fair. Himself his saddle bow in silken embroideries rare. 'Twere hard to tell the half, so cunning was the wise, in which was broidered all with birds and eke with flies. Decked was the horse's deck, and decked was the crupper bold, with God so gay of green, the centre set with gold, and every harness boss was all enamelled green. The stirrups where he stood were all of the self same sheen, the saddle bow behind, the girths so long and fair, that gleamed and glittered all with greenstones rich and rare. The very steed beneath the self same semblance where he rides, a green horse, great and tall, steed full stiff to guide, and broidered bridle all, he worthily bestrides. Right gaily was the knight bedecked, all green his weed, the hair upon his head, the mane of his good steed, fair floating locks enfold his shoulders broad and strong, great as a bush the beard that on his breast low hung, and with his goodly hair that hung down from his head, a covering round his arms above his elbows spread, laced were his arms below, and in that self same way as a king's capadoce, that clasped his neck away. The mane of that great steed was well and deftly wrought, well crisped and combed the hair with many a knot and caught, folded with golden thread about the green so fair. Here lay a twist of gold, here a coil of hair. In self same wise the tail and topmost crest were twined, a band of brightest green the twain alike did bind, which set with precious stones hung the tail's length adown, then twisted in a knot on high the crest did crown. There from hung many a bell, burnished bold so bright, such foal upon the fell, bestridden by such knight, sure ne'er within the hall before a mortal sight were seen, as lightning gleaming bright, so seemed to all his sheen. They deemed that no man might endure his blows so keen. No helmet on his head, no hauberk did he wear, gorget nor breastplate good as knights were wont to bear. No shaft to smite, no shield that blows might well withstand, naught but a holly bough he carried in one hand, when all the groves be bare than fullest in its green, and in his other hand a huge axe, sharp and sheen, a weapon ill to see would one its fashion say. The haft it measured a full ell-yard long all way, the blade of good green steel, and all with gold inlay, right sharp and broad the edge, and burnished bright the blade. 'Twas sharp and well it cut, and as a razor good. Right well the steel was set in staff, so stiff of wood, and iron bands to bind throughout the length it bare, with cunning work green all wrought and graven fair, twined with lace that fell in silken loops so soft, and at the head and down the shaft 'twas caught full oft with hanging tassels fair that silken threads entwine, and buttons of bright green, all broidered fair and fine. Thus in the great hall door the knight stood, fair and tall, fearless and free his gaze he gat them down the hall. Greeting gave to none, but looked right steadily towards the royal seat, and quoth, "Now where is he, the lord of all this folk? To see him I am fain, and with himself would speak, might I the boon attain." With frown he looked upon the knights, and paced him up and down. Fain would he known aright who was of most renown. Then each man gazed amain, and each would that hero see, and each man marvelled much what might the meaning be that man and horse alike of such a hue were seen. Green as the growing grass, and greener still, I ween, and than the enamel green on gold that gloweth bright. A marvelling fell they all who might he be, a wis for strange sights they had seen, but none so strange as this. The folk they deemed it well phantasm or fairy, and none among them all dare answer speedily, but all astonied gazed and held them still a stone, throughout that goodly hall in silence every one. Their faces changed, as they by sleep were overcome. Suddenly, I deem not all for fear, but some for courtesy, they fain would lend an ear and let the king reply. Arthur before his dais beheld this marvel fair, and boldly did he speak for dread he knew it ne'er. He said, "Right welcome, serf, to this my house and hall. Head of this hostel I and Arthur men me call. Alight from this thy steed, and linger here I pray, and what thy will may be hereafter thou shalt say." "So help me," quoth the knight, "the God who rules o'er all. I came here not to bide within thy castle wall. The praise of this thy folk throughout the world is told. Thy burg, thy barons all, bravest and best they hold. The stiffest under steel, who battle steed bestride, wisest and worthiest they throughout the whole world wide, proven right well in joust and all fair knightly play, renowned for courtesy, so have I heard men say. And this hath brought me here, e'en at this Yuletide fair. For be ye well assured by this green branch I bear, that I would pass in peace, and seek no battle here. For an it were my will to ride in warlike gear, I have at home a helm and hauberk good and strong, and shield and shining spear, and blade both sharp and long, and other weapons good, as well a knight be seen. But since I seek no war, my weeds are soft, I ween. And if ye be so bold as all men say ye be, the favor I ask ye sure will grant me a right. Arthur, he was not slow to speak. I trow, Sir Knight, and here thou seek'st a foe, thou shalt not fail for fight. Nay, here I crave no fight. In sooth, I say to thee, the knights about thy board, but beardless bairns they be. And were I fitly armed upon this steed so tall, for lack of strength no man might match me in this hall. Therefore, within thy court I crave a Christmas jest. 'Tis Yuletide and New Year, and here be many a guest. If any in this hall himself so hardy hold, so valiant of his hand, of blood and brains, so bold, that stroke for counterstroke with me exchange he dare, I give him a free gift this gisarm rich and fair, this axe of goodly weight, to wield as he see fit, and I will bide his blow as bare as here I sit. If one will test my words, and be of valiant mood, then let him swiftly come and take this weapon good. Here I renounce my claim, the axe shall be his own, and I will stand his stroke here on this floor of stone, that I in turn a blow may deal, that boon alone I pray. Yet respite shall he have, a 12-month and a day. Now quickly I thee crave, who now hath aught to say. If erst they were amazed, now stiller sat they all, both high and low, those knights within King Arthur's hall. The knight upon his steed, he sat him fast and true, and round about the hall his fierce red eyes he threw. From 'neath his bushy brows, all green they were in hue, twisting his beard, he waits to see if none will rise. When no man proffers speech, with mocking voice he cries, "What, is this Arthur's house? Is this his gallant band, whose fame hath run abroad through many a realm and land? Where be your vaunted pride, your conquests, where be they? Your wrath and fierceness fell, your boastful words alway. Now is the round table its revel and renown o'erthrown with but a word from one man's mouth alone. Since none dare speak for dread, though ne'er a dint he see, with that he laughs so loud Arthur must shamed be, and his face so fair the blood rose ruddily alight, as wind wax wrought the king, and every gallant knight in words of warlike ring he hailed that man of might. And quoth, "By heaven, Sir Knight, thou speakest foolishly, and what thy folly craves we needs must grant to thee. I trow no knight of mine thy boastful words doth fear. That goodly axe of thine in God's name give me here, and I will give the boon which thou dost here demand." With that he lightly leapt and caught him by the hand, then lighted down the knight. Before the king he stood, and Arthur by the haft he gripped that axe so good, and swung it sternly round as one who thought to smite. Before him on the floor he stood, that stranger knight, taller by a full head than any in the hall. With stern mien did he stand, and stroked his beard withal, and drew his coat down, e'en with unruffled cheer. No more was he dismayed for threats his needs must hear, than at the royal board where one bare a cup and near of wine. Gawain from his place spake fitting words and fine. I pray thee of thy grace, be this adventure mine. Quoth Gawain to the king, I pray right worthily thou bid me quit this seat and take my stand by thee, that so without reproach I from this board may rise, and that it be not ill in my liege lady's eyes, I'll to thy counsel come before this royal court. Unfitting do I deem that such a boon be sought, and such a challenge raised in this your goodly hall, that thou thyself be fain to answer it withal, while many a valiant knight doth sit beside thee still. I wot there be beneath heaven no men a sterner will, nor braver in the field where men fight as is fit. Methinks the weakest eye, the feeblest hair of wit, the less loss of my life, if thou the sooth wouldst stay, save as thy near of kin, no praise were mine alway. No virtue save thy blood I in my body know, since this be folly all, nor thine to strike this blow. And I have prayed the boon, then granted unto me, this good court, and I bear myself ungallantly may blame. Together they did press, their counsel was the same, to free the king no less, and give Gawain the game. Then did the king command that gallant knight to rise, and swiftly up he gat in fair and courteous wise, and knelt before the Lord and gripped the axe's haft. The king he loosened his hold and raised his hand aloft, and blessed him in Christ's name, and bade him in good part to be of courage still, hardy of hand and heart. Now, nephew, keep thee well, he quoth, deal but one blow, and if thou readst him well, in very truth I know, the blow that he shall deal thou shall right well withstand. Gawain strode to the knight, the gisarm in his hand. Right boldly did he bide, no whit abashed I ween. And frankly to Gawain he quoth, that knight in green, make me a covenant here ere yet we further go, and first I ask, Sir Knight, that I thy name may know. I bid thee tell me true, that I assured may be. "A faith," quoth that good knight, "Gawain, I wot, is he who giveth thee this blow, be it for good or ill. A 12-month hence I'll take another at thy will. The weapon be thy choice, I'll crave no other still alive." And the other quoth again, "Gawain, so may I thrive, but I shall take full fain the dint that thou shalt drive." "By Christ," quoth the Green Knight, "I trow I am full fain the blow that here I crave to take from thee, Gawain. And thou hast well rehearsed in fashion fair, I trow, the covenant and the boon I prayed the king. But now, save that thou here, Sir Knight, shalt soothly swear to me to seek me out thyself, where'er it seemeth thee I may be found on field, and here in turn demand such dole as thou shalt deal before this godly band." "Now," quoth the good Gawain, "by him who fashioned me, I wot not where to seek, nor where thy home shall be. I know thee not, Sir Knight, thy court, nor yet thy name. Teach me thereof the truth, and tell me of the same, and I will use my wind to win me to that goal. And here I give thee troth, and swear it on my soul." "Nay, in this New Year's tides it needs no more, I ween. So to the good Gawain he quoth, that knight in green, save that I tell thee true, when I the blow have taken, which thou hast smartly smite, and teach thee here remain, where be my house, my home, and what my name shall be. Then mayest thou find thy road, and keep thy pledge to me. But if I waste no speech, thou shalt the better speed, and in thy land mayst dwell, no further seeked need for fight, to take thy grim tool to thee. Let's see how thou canst smite," quoth Gawain,
"Willingly,"
and stroke his axe so bright. The Green Knight on the ground made ready speedily. He bent his head down so that his neck were free. His long and lovely locks across the crown they fell, his bare neck to the nape, all men might see right well. Gawain he gripped his axe and swung it up on high, the left foot on the ground he setteth steadily. Upon the neck so bare he let the blade alight, the sharp edge of the axe, the bones asunder smite. Sheer through the flesh it smote, the neck was cleft in two, the brown steel in the ground it bit, so strong the blow. The fair head from the neck fell even to the ground, spurred by the horse's hoof, e'en as it rolled around. The red blood spurted forth and stained the green so bright, but ne'er for that he failed nor fell, that stranger knight. Swiftly he started up on stiff and steady limb, and stretching forth his hand as all men gaped at him, grasped at his goodly head and lifted it up again, then turned him to his steed and caught the bridle rein, set foot in stirrup iron, bestrode the saddle fair, and while he gripped his head, e'en by the flowing hair, he set himself as firm in saddle, so I ween, as naught had ailed him there, though headless he was seen. In hall he turned his steed about, that corpse, that blood withal, full many there had doubt of how the pledge might fall. The head within his hands he held it up a space, toward the royal dais forsooth he turned to face. The eyelids straight were raised, and looked with glance so clear, aloud it spake the mouth, e'en as you now may hear. Look, Gawain, thou be swift to speed, as thou hast said, and seek in all good faith until thy search be sped. E'en as thou here didst swear, in hearing of these knights, to the Green Chapel come, I charge thee now aright. The blow thou hast deserved, such as was dealt today, e'en on the New Year's morn I pledge me to repay. Full many know my name, the Knight of the Chapel Green. To find me shouldst thou seek, thou wilt not fail, I ween. Therefore thou needs must come, or be for recreant found. With fierce pull at the rein he turned his steed around, his head within his hand. Forth from the hall he rode, beneath his horse's hoofs the sparks they flew abroad. No man in all the hall wist where he would took his way, nor whence that night had come, durst any of them say. What then? The king and Gawain there they gazed and laughed again, proving it was full fair, a marvel unto men. Though Arthur in his heart might marvel much, I ween, no semblance in his speech of fear or dread was seen. Unto the queen he quoth, in courteous wise and gay, Dear lady, at this tide let not your heart dismay. Such craft doth well, methinks, to Christmas time belong, when jests be soothly sought, with laugh and merry song. And when in carols gay our knights and ladies vie, natheless unto my meat I'll get me presently. I may not soon forget the sight mine eyes have seen. He turned him to Gawain, and quoth with glancing mien, Now, sir, hang up thy axe. The blow was soundly sped. 'Twas hung above the dais on the dossel overhead, that all within the hall might look upon it well, and by that token true the tale of wonder tell. Then to the royal board they sat them down, those twain, the king and the good knight, and the men for service fain. As to the noblest there with double portion wend, with meat and minstrelsy the Yuletide feast they spend. With joy they pass the day, till shades of night descend o'er land. Now think thee well, Gawain, and fail not to withstand the venture thou wast fain to take unto thy hand. Book 2. Now this first venture fair befell in the new year to Arthur, who such feats was ever fain to hear, although his words were few when asked at meat they met. But now to task full stern their hand methinks be set. Right gladly did Gawain begin these games in hall. If heavy be the end, small wonder wherewithal. A man hath merry mind when he hath drunk amain. Speedy the year hath sped and cometh not again. Beginnings to their end do all unlike appear. The Yuletide passed away, and eke the after year. Each season severally after the other sent. When Christmas tide was past, there came the crabbed Lent. That change in flesh for fish doth simpler food provide. The weather of the world with winter then doth chide. The cold no longer clings, the clouds themselves uplift, shed swift the rain and warm the showers of springtide drift. Fall fair upon the field, the flowers all unfold, the grass and e'en the groves all green ye may behold. The birds begin to build and greet with joyful song, solace of summer sweet that followeth ere long on bank. The blossoms fair they blow in hedgerow rich and rank. The birds sing aloud and low in woodland deep and dank. After their summer tide, with gentle winds and soft, when zephyr on the sward and seas doth breathe full oft, full gladsome is the growth waxen therefrom, I ween, wherein as the dewdrops drip from off the leaves so green, beneath the blissful beams of bright summer sun. Then ninth harvest tide hardening the grain anon, with warnings to wax ripe ere the winter cold, with drought he drives the dust before him on the wold. From off the field it flies, in clouds it riseth high. Winds of the welkin strive with the sun, wrathfully the leaves fall from the bough and lie upon the ground, and grey is now the grass that erst all green was found. Ripens and rots the fruit which once was flower gay, and thus the year doth turn to many a yesterday. Winter become again, as needeth not to say the sage. Then, when St. Michael's moon become with winter's gauge, Gawain bethinks him soon of his dread venture's wage. Yet till All Hallows Day with Arthur did he bide. Then for his sake the king a fair feast did provide. Rich was the revel there at the good table round. There were both courteous knights and comely ladies found, and many sorrowed sore for all that good knight's sake. Yet none the less no sign of aught but mirth they make, though joyless all the jests they bandy at that same. With morning after meat he to his uncle came, and of his journey spake, and openly did say, Now, liege lord of my life, your leave I fain would pray. Ye know how stands the case, thereof no more I'll speak. Since talk it mendeth not, 'twere trifling easy seek. I to the blow am bound, tomorrow I must fare, to seek the knight in green, God knoweth how or where. The best knights of the burg together then they ran, Gawain and Eric there with many another man. Dodinel the Sauvage, the Duke of Clarence came, Lancelot, Lionel, and Lucian all the same. Sir Bors, Sir Bedivere, the twain were men of might, with Matter de la Porte and many another knight. Courtiers in company nigh to the king they drew, for counsel in that night, much care at heart they knew, and dole so drear their tears, and all together blend. To think that good Gawain must on such errand wend, such doleful dent endure, no more fair blows to spend, and free. The knight he made good cheer, he quoth, What boots it me? For though his weird be drear, such man that same must dree. He dwelt there all that day, at early dawn besought that men would bring his arms, and all were straightway brought. A carpet on the floor they stretched full fair and tight, rich with golden gear, and on that glittering bright. The brave man stepped thereon, the steel he handled fair. A doublet there of tars they did upon him there. A cunning capados they fitted close and well, all fairly lined throughout, as I have heard it tell. They set the shoes of steel upon the hero's feet, and wrapped the legs in greaves of steel as fit and meet. The caps were long thereto polished, they were full clean, and knit above the knee with knots of golden sheen. Comely the cuisses were that closed him all about, with thongs all tightly tied about his thighs so stout, and then a bare knee brought with burnished steel they bring, upon a stuff so fair, woven with many a ring. And now upon each arm they set a burnished brace, with elbow plates so good the metal gloves they lace. Thus all the goodly gear to shield him was in place. That tide, rich surcoat he doth wear, and golden spurs of pride. His sword is girt full fair with silk upon his side. When he was fitly armed, his harness rich they deem, nor loop nor latchet small, but was with gold a gleam. Then, harnessed as he was, his mass he heard straightway, On the high altar there was an offering meet did lay. Then, coming to the king and to the knights all court, from lords and ladies fair lightly his leave besought. They kissed the knight, his soul commending to Christ's care. Ready was Gringolet, agirt with saddle fair. Gaily it gleamed that day, with fringes all of gold. For this adventure high new nails it bare for old. The bridle barred about, with gold adorned well, the harness of the neck, the skirts that proudly fell, grupper and groverture matched with the saddle bow. On all the gold red nails were richly set a row. They glittered and they gleamed, e'en as the sun, I wis. The knight, he takes his helm, and greets it with a kiss. 'Twas hooped about with steel, and all full fitly lined. He set it on his head, and hasped it close behind. Over the visor low a kerchief lieth light, broidered about and bound with goodly gems and bright. On a broad silken braid there many a bird is seen. The painted paroquet appeareth there between turtles and true love knots, so thick entwined there, as maids 7 winters long had wrought with labor fair in town. For dear the circlet's price that lay upon the crown, of diamonds its device, they were both bright and brown. The shield they shewed him then of flaming gules so red, there the pinnacle shines in pure gold burnished. On baldric bound the shield to his neck makes tight. Full well I ween that sign becomes a comely knight. And why unto that prince the badge doth well pertain, tarry thereby my tale, I yet to tell him fain. For Solomon as sign erst the pinnacle set, and tokening of truth, it bears that title yet. For 'tis in figure formed of full 5 points I ween, each line another laced, no ending there is seen. Each doth the other lock, in English land I wot, it beareth everywhere the name of Inglis not. Therefore a fitting badge the knight this sign doth wear, for faithful he in fivefold the gifts he bare. Sir Gawain, good was he, pure as refined gold, void of all villainy, virtue did enfold, and grace, so the pinnacle knew, hath on his shield a place, as knight of heart most true, fairest of form and face. First he was faultless found in his 5 wits, I ween, nor failed his fingers 5 where he yet had been, and all his earthly trust upon those 5 wounds lay that Christ won on the cross, e'en as the creed doth say. And wheresoever fate to fiercest fight did bring, truly in thought he deemed above all other thing, that all his force, forsooth, from those 5 joys he drew, which through her holy child the Queen of Heaven knew. And for this cause the knight, courteous and comely, bare on one half of his shield her image, painted fair, that when he looked thereon his courage might not fail. The 5th 5 that I found did much this not avail, were frankness, fellowships, all other gifts above, cleanness and courtesy that ever did him move, and pity passing all, I trow in this fair 5, that knight was clothed and happed o'er all that be alive. And all these gifts 5-fold upon the knight were bound, each in the other linked, that none an end had found. Fast fixed upon 5 points I trow that failed him ne'er, nor joined at any side, nor sundered anywhere. Nor was there any point, so cunningly they blend, where they begin and make, or where they find an end. Therefore upon his shield fair shape doth that same sign in red gold gleam upon red gules of flame, which the pinnacle pure the folk do truly name with lore. Armed is Sir Gawain gay, his lance aloft he bore, and wished them all good day, he deemed forevermore. Spurs to his steed he set, and sprang upon his way, so that from out the stones the sparks they flew all way. Seeing that seemly sight, the hearts of all did sink. Each soothly said to each that which they secret think. Grieved for that comely night, by Christ, 'twere pity great, if yon good knight be lost, who is of fair estate. His peer on field to find, if faith it were not light, 'twere better to have wrought by wile, methinks, and might. Such doubtly knighted Duke would worthier have been, a leader upon land, gladly we such had seen. Such lot were better far than he were brought to naught, hewn by an elfish man for gauge of prideful thought. Did ever any king obey such strange behest as risk a goodly night upon a Christmas jest? Much water warm, I ween, welled from the eyes of all, when as the gallant knight gat him from Arthur's hall that day. Nor here would he abide, but swiftly went his way, by toilsome paths did ride, even as the book doth say. Now rides Gawain the good through Logris realm, I trow. Forth doth he fare in quest that seemeth ill enow. Often companionless, at night alone must lie. The fare he lacketh best, he lacketh verily. No fellow save his foal hath he by wood or wold, with none save God alone that night may converse hold. Till that unto North Wales full nigh he needs must draw, the Isles of Anglesey on his left hand he saw, and fared against the ford and foreland at that same, or against Holyhead, so that he further came to world's wilds, methinks, nor long therein abode, since few within that land they love or man or God. And ever as he fared, he asked the folk, I ween, if they had heard men tell tale of a knight in green, in all that land about, or of that chapel green. And all the men answered, nay, not of that knight they knew, and none had seen with sight a man who bare such hue as green. The knight took roads full strange, and rugged paths between. His mood full oft did change ere he his goal had seen. Full many a cliff he climbs within that country's range. Far flying from his friends, he rideth lone and strange. At every ford and flood he passed upon his way, he found a foe before, of fashion grim alway. So foul they were and fell that he of needs must fight. So many a marvel there befell that gallant knight, that tedious 'twere to tell the tithe thereof, I ween. Sometimes with worms he warred, or wolves his foes have been, anon with woodmen wild who in the rocks do hide. Of bulls, or bears, or boars, the onslaught doth he bide, and giants who drew anigh from off the moorland height. Doughty endurance he, and shielded by God's light, else doubtless had he died, full oft had he been slain. Yet war it vexed him less than winter's bitter bane. When the clear water cold from out the clouds was shed, and froze ere yet it fell on fallow field and dead. Then, more nights than a now, on naked rocks he lay, and half slain with the sleet, in harness slept away, while the cold spring that erst its waters clattering flung from the cliff high o'erhead in icicles now hung. In peril thus, in pain, in many a piteous plight, until the Yuletide eve alone that gallant knight did fare. Sir Gawain at that tide to Mary made his prayer, for fain he was to ride where he might shelter share. That morn beside a mount on his road the knight doth keep, threading a forest wild with ways both strange and deep. High hills on either hand, holts full thick below, where hoar oaks hundredfold did close together grow. Hazel and hawthorn there in tangled thicket clung, ragged and rough, the moss o'er all a covering flung. And many birds unblithe on boughs yet might behold, piping full piteously for pain of bitter cold. Gawain on Gringolet fares lonely through the glade, through many a miry marsh, a heart full sore afraid that he no shelter find, that as was fit and right he serves betimes that sire who on that self same night was of a maiden born, our bale to cure I trow. Therefore he, sighing, said, Lord Christ, I pray thee now, and Mary Mother mild, for her son's sake so dear, a heaven I may find, thy mass may fitly hear, and matins at the moon, meekly I crave this boon. A paternoster pray, and Ave too right soon with creed. Thus praying did he ride, confessing his misdeed, crossing himself he cried, Christ cross me better speed. Scarce had he signed himself, I ween, of times but 3, when there within the wood a dwelling doth he see, above a lawn on law, shaded by many a bough, Above its moat there stand of stately trees, and now the comeliest castle, sure, for owner strong and stout, set in a meadow fair with park all round about, within a palisade of spikes set thick and close. For more than 2 miles round the tree they fast enclose. Sir Gawain from the side of that burg was aware. Then swift he doffed his helm, thanking I trow that day Christ and St. Julian that they had heard alway courteous his piteous prayer, and hearkened to his cry. Now grant me, quoth the knight, right here good hostelry. Then pricked he Gringolet with spurs of golden sheen. The good steed chooseth well the chiefest gate, I ween. And swift to the bridge end he comes, the knight so keen at last. The bridge aloft was stayed, the gates were shut full fast. The walls were well arrayed, they feared no tempest blast. The knight upon his bank his charger there doth stay, beyond the double ditch that round the castle lay. The walls in water set they were, and wondrous deep, and high above his head it towered the castle keep. Of hard stone fitly hewn up to the corbels fair, beneath the battlements the stones well shapen were. Above 'twas fairly set with turrets in between, and many a loophole fair for watchmen's gaze so keen. A better barbican had never met his eye. Within the knight beheld a goodly hall and high. The towers set between the bristling battlements, round they were, shapen fair, of goodly ornament, with carven capitals by cunning craft well wrought. Of chalk-white chimneys too, and now they were, he thought. On battled roof a row they shone and glittered white, and many a pinnacle adorned that palace bright. The castle cornices they crowned it everywhere, so white and thick it seemed they pared from paper were. Gawain on Gringolet right good the castle thought, so he might find within the shelter that he sought, and there until the feast no fitting end were brought might rest. He called, a porter came, with fair speech of the guest he craved from all his name, and what were his behest. Good sir, then quoth Gawain, do thou for me this task. Get thee unto thy lord, and say I shelter ask. Nay, by St. Peter good, the porter quoth, 'tis well welcome be ye, sir knight, within these walls to dwell long as liketh ye. Then swift his way he went, as swiftly came again, with folk on welcome bent. The drawbridge let it down, from out the gate they came, and on the ground so cold they knelt low at that same. To welcome that good knight in worthy wise that tide, they shew him to the gate with portals open wide. Then o'er the bridge he gat, with greeting gay the knight. Sergeants his stirrups seize, and bid him swift alight. To stable that good steed the men run readily. The knights and squires they came adown full speedily, to bring that gentle knight with bliss unto the hall. When as he raised his helm they hasted one and all, to take it from his hand, to serve him are they fain. His goodly sword and shield in charge they take the twain. Then greeting good he gave those nobles every one, the proud men pressing nigh to have him honour done. Still in his harness happed, to hall they led him there. Upon the floor there flamed a fire both fierce and fair. The castle's lord come forth from his chamber door, to greet with fitting grace his guest upon the floor. He quoth, be welcome here to stay as likes ye still, for here is all your own to have at your own will and hold. Gramercy, quoth Gawain, of Christ be payment told. In courteous wise the twain embrace as heroes bold. Gawain gazed on the knight who goodly greeting gave, and deemed that burg so bright was owned of baron brave. For huge he was in height, and manhood's age he knew. His broad beard on his breast as beaver was its hue, and stalwart in his stride, and strong and straight was he. His face was red as fire, and frank his speech and free. In sooth, Sir Gawain thought, 'twould seem him well on land to lead in lordship good a men of gallant band. The lord he led the way into a chamber there, and did his folk command to serve him fit and fair. Then at his bidding came full many a gallant knight. They led him to a bower with noble bed and dight, the curtains all of silk and hemmed with golden thread, and comely coverings of fairest cloth o'erspread. Above of silk so bright the broideries they were, the curtains ran on ropes with rings of gold fair. Rich tapestries of tars and Toulouse on the wall hung fair. The floor was spread with lac cloth withal, and there they did disarm with many a mirthful rede the knight of Byrny bright, and of his warlike weed. Then rich robes in their stead I trow they swiftly brought, and for the change they chose the choicest to their thought. Then soon he did them on, and I would have ye know, right well became the knight those skirts of seemly flow. That hero, fair of face, he seemed verily to all men who his mien and hue might nearer see, so sweet and lovesome there, of limbs so light they thought that ne'er Christ on earth a comelier had wrought that night. Through the world far and near might well be deemed right. A prince would ne'er appear in field of fiercest fight. A chair before the fire of charcoal burning bright they set for good Gawain with cloth all draped and dight. Cushion and footstool fit, the twain they were right good. Then men a mantle cast around him as he stood. 'Twas of a blyant brown, broidered in rich device, and fairly furred with pelts of goodly price, of whitest ermine all, and even so the hood. Down in that seemly seat he sat, the gallant good, and warmed him at the fire. Then bettered was his cheer. On trestles fairly set they fixed a table near, and spread it with a cloth that shone all clean and white. Napkin and salt cellar with silver spoons so bright, the knight washed at his will, and set him down to eat. Surgeons they served him in seemly wise and meat, with divers dishes sweet, and seasoned to the best. A double portion then they set before the guest of fishes, baked in bread or broiled on glowing wood. Anon came fishes seethed or stewed with spices good, with choicest dainties there, as pleasing to his taste. The knight he quoth full oft, a feast that board had graced. Then all, as with one voice, the answer made in haste: Fair friend, this penance shall ye take, it shall ye well amend. Much mirth the knight did make, for wine did gladness lend. The hosts in courteous wise the truth are fain to know of this their goodly guest, if he his name would show. As courteously he quoth, he from the court did fare, holden of good renown, where Arthur rule did bear. Rich royal king was he, o'er all the table round, and 'twas Gawain himself who here had haven found. Hither for Christmas come, as chance had ruled it right. Then when the Lord had learned he had for the guest that night, loudly he laughed for joy. He deemed such tidings good. All men within the moat they waxed of mirthful mood, to think that they that tide should in his presence be, who for his prowess prized and purest courtesy that doth to him belong was praised everywhere. Of all men upon earth none might with him compare. Each to his fellows said full softly, Now shall we the seemly fashion fair of courts full fitly see, with faultless form of speech, and trick of noble word, what charm in such may be that shall unmasked be heard. Since here the Father fine of courtesy we greet, methinks Christ show us must grace and favor meet, in granting us such guests for Yule as good Gawain. When men blithe for his birth to sit, methinks are fain to sing. Customs of courtesy this night to us shall teach, and from his lips may be we'll learn of love the speech. By that was dinner done, the knights from table rose. The eventide drew nigh, the day was near its close. The chosen chaplains there to chapel go forthright. Loudly the bells they ring, even as was fit and right. To solemn even song of his high feast they go. The Lord the prayers would hear, his lady fair also. To comely closet closed she entereth straightway, and even so full soon falls Sir Gawain gay. The Lord his lappet took, and led him to his seat, hailing him by his name in guise of friendship meet. Of all knights in the world he was most welcome there. He thanked them, and the twain embraced with kisses fair, and soberly they sit throughout the service high. Then 'twas the lady's will to see the knight with eye. With many a maiden fair she cometh from her place. Fair she was in skin and figure and in face, of height and colour too in every way, so fair that e'en Gaynor the queen might scarce with her compare. She through the chapel came to greet the hero good, led by another dame who at her left hand stood. Older she was, I trow, and reverend seemingly, with goodly following of nobles verily. But all unlike the sight I trow those ladies were. Yellow the older dame, whereas the first was fair. The cheeks of one were red, and as the rose doth glow, the other wrinkles rough, in plenty she did show. The younger, kerchief soft, with many a pearl so white ware, that her breast and throat full well displayed to sight. Whiter they were than snow that on the hills doth lie. The other's neck was veiled in gorget folds so high that all her chin so black was swathed in milk-white folds. Her forehead all, I ween, in silk was wrapped and rolled. Broidered it was, full fair, adorned with knots and now, till naught of her was seen save the black bristly brow. Her eyes, her nose, I ween, and eke her lips were bare, and those were ill to see, so bleared and sour they were. Meet mistress upon mould, so men might her declare that tide. Short and thick set was she, her hips were broad and wide, and fairer far to see the lady at her side. When Gawain saw that dame, gracious of mien and gay, leave from his host he craved, and towards her took his way. The elder bowing low, he fittingly doth greet. Lightly within his arms he folds the lady sweet, gives her a comely kiss as fit from courteous knight. She hailed him as her friend, a boon he praised forthright. Her servant would he be, and so her will it were. Betwixt the twain he walks, and talking still they fare to hall and hame to hearth. And at the Lord's command spices in plenty great are ready to their hand, with wine that maketh gay at feast time as is meet. The Lord in laughing wise he sprang unto his feet, bade them make mirth, and now all men his words must hear. His hood he doffed from head and hung it on a spear, and quoth that same man worship thereof should win, who made the greatest mirth that Christmas tide within. I'll fail not by my faith to frolic with the best, ere that my hood I lose with help of every guest. And thus with joyous jest the Lord doth try withal to gladden Sir Gawain with games in this his hall that night, till that the torches flare he needs must bid them light. Gawain must from them fare and seek his couch forthright. Then on the morrow morn, when all men bear in mind how our dear Lord was born to die for all mankind, joy in each dwelling dwells, I wot well for his sake. So did it there that day, when men high feast would make. For then at every meal messes full richly dressed, men served upon the dice with dainties of the best. That ancient lady there doth fill the highest seat, the castle's lord I trow beside her as was meet. Sir Gawain hath his place beside that lady gay, at midmost of the board where meat was served alway. And then through all the hall each one as seemed him best, sat each in his degree, fitly they served each guest. Much meat had they and mirth with joy and merry song. Methinks to tell thereof would take me over long, although perchance I strove to tell that tale as meet. I wot well that Gawain and this lady sweet, in their fair fellowship much comfort needs must find, in the dear dalliance of words and glances kind, and converse courteous, from all unfitness free, such pastime fitting were for prince and purity. Sweet strain of trump, and piping clear, and drum doth sound amain, each doth his minstrel hear, and even so the twain. Much mirth they made that day, and e'en the morrow's morn, nor slackened to the feast when the third day was born. The joy of sweet St. John gentle it was to hear. The folk they deemed the feast fast to its end drew near. The ghost must needs depart, e'en in the dawning gray. Full early did they rise and serve the wine straightway, danced carols merrily, so blithe the day they passed. And when the hour waxed late, they took their leave at last, each one to wend his way whenas the day should break. Gawain would bid good day. His hand the Lord doth take, to his own chamber leads, and by the chimney wide, to thank his guest full vain, he draweth him aside, thanks him from worship fair that he from him had won, and for the honor high he to his house had done, by lending countenance unto this Christmas feast. Of honors while I live, I'll count this not the least, that Gawain this my guest at Christmas on feast hath been. Gramercy, Gawain. In all good faith I ween, the honor it is yours,
and may Christ you repay. I wait upon your word to do your will alway, as I be bound thereto by night and e'en by day of right. The Lord he was full fain to keep with him the night, then answered him Gawain, that he in no wise might. The Lord he courteous prayed that he would tell him there what deed of daring drove Gawain afar to fare e'en in this time from court, and thus alone to wend, before this holy feast had come unto an end. In sooth, sir, quoth the knight, ye speak the truth alway. A hasty quest and high doth sent me on my way, for I myself must seek and find a certain place, and whitherward to wend I wot not by God's grace. Nor would I miss my tryst at New Year by my soul for all the land of Logris. Christ help me to my goal. Therefore, sir host, I now require ye without fail to tell me here in truth if ye e'er heard a tale told of a chapel green, where such a place may be. The knight who keep it green too, I ween, is he. We swear a forward fast, I trow, between us twain, that I that man must meet. Might I thereto attain, and to that same New Year but few days now remain. Now fain or far I would behold that self same night, if so it were God's will, than any gladder sight. Therefore with your good will I needs must wend my way, since I have for my guest but 3 bare days alway. Fainer were I to die than fail this in my quest.
Then, laughing, quoth the Lord, of needs must be my guest. I'll show to thee thy goal ere yet the term be o'er, that very chapel green, so vex thy soul no more. Do thou in bed abide, and take thine ease, I pray, until the 4th day dawn, with New Year go thy way, and thou shalt reach that goal ere yet it be midday. So still to the New Year abide, then rise, thy goal is near, men shall thee thither guide, 'tis not 2 miles from here. Sir Gawain, he was glad, and laughed out gay and free.
Thank ye, sire, for this, or all your courtesy. Achieved is my quest, and I shall at your will within your burg abide, and do your pleasure still.
The Lord he took that knight, and set him at his side, and bade the ladies come and cheer him at that tide. Though they had of themselves for solace verily, the host for very joy he jested merrily, as one for meed of mirth scarce wist what he might say. Then turning to the knight he cried on him alway, Didst thou swear to do the deed I should of thee request? Now art thou ready here to hearken at my behest?
Yea, sire, forsooth I am.
So quoth the hero true.
While at your burg I bide, servant am I to you.
Now, quoth the host, methinks your travail sore hath been. Here hast thou waked with me, nor had thy fill, I ween, of sustenance or sleep, and thou thine host wouldst please. Thou shalt lie long in bed, and linger and take thy ease at morn, nor rise for mass, but eat as thou shalt say. E'en when thou wilt, my wife with thee a while shall stay, and solace thee with speech, till I my homeward way have found. For I betimes shall rise a-hunting am I bound. Gawain, this his device, doth grant him at that stound. First, quoth the host, we'll make a forward fair and free. Whate'er in the wood I win, the profit thine shall be. What cheer thou shalt achieve shall give me 'gainst my gain. Now swear me here to truth to keep this twixt us twain, whate'er our hap may be, or good or ill fall.
By God, quoth good Gawain, I grant ye this withal, and such play pleaseth you, forsooth it pleaseth me.
Now bring the beverage here, the bargain set shall be. So quoth the castle's lord, and each one laughed, I trow. They drank and dallied there, and dealt with sport, and now those lords and ladies fair, e'en as it liked them best. And so in friendship fair, with many a courteous jest, they stood and stayed a while, and spake with softest speech. They kissed at parting, e'en as courtesy doth teach. And then with service fit, and many a torch alight, unto his bed at last they brought each gallant knight again. Yet ere their couch they sought, the covenant twixt twain the Lord to memory brought, for jesting was he fain. Book 3. Full early ere 'twas day, the folk will rise withal. The guests would go their way, upon their grooms they call. They busk them busily to saddle each good steed. The girths they tighten there, and truss the mails at need. The nobles, ready all, in riding gear arrayed, leap lightly to their steeds, their hands on bridle laid. Each wight upon his way doth at his will ride fast. The lord of all the land I wot was not the last. ready for riding he with his men. At that same 8 o'clock hastily when asked for mass they came, with blast of bugle bold forth upon the ben he'd go. Ere yet the day had dawned on the cold earth below, he and his knights bestrode each one their horses high. The huntsman coupled then the house right speedily, then calling on the dogs, unclosed the kennel door. A bugle blast they blow, but 3 notes, not more. Loudly the brackets bay, and wake the echoes there. They check their hounds so good, who to the chase would fare. 100 men all told, so doth the tale declare, ride fast. The trackers on the trail, the hounds uncoupled cast. Through forest, hill, and dale, rings loud the bugle blast. At first warning note that bade the hunt awake, the deer within the dale for dread they needs must quake, swift to the heights they hie. But soon must turn around, the men in ambush hid so loud they cried and shout, the hearts with heads held high, they passed in safety there, and so stately stags with spreading antlers fair. For so the Lord's command at close time of the year, that none should lift his hand save against a female deer. The hinds with hag and war they hold the lines within, the does are driven back to dale with deafening din. Swift as they speed I trow, fair shooting might ye see, the arrows striking true as neath the boughs they flee, their broad heads deeply wound and smitten on the flank, the bleeding deer they fall dying upon the bank. The hounds in hasty course follow upon the trail, huntsmen with sounding horns for speed they do not fail, following with ringing cries that cliffs might cleave in twain. The deer that scape the darts they by the dogs are taken, run down and riven and rent, within the bounds so wide, harassed upon the hill, worried by the waterside. The men well knew their craft of forest and of flood. The greyhounds were full swift to follow through the wood. They caught them ere the men with arrows as they stood could smite. The Lord was glad and gay, his lance he wielded light. With joy he passed the day, till fell the shades of night. The Lord he maketh sport beneath the woodland bough. Sir Gawain, that good knight, in bed he lieth now, hiding while daylight gleamed upon the walls without, neath costly cover and fair, and curtained all round about. As he half slumbering lay, it seemed to his ear a small sound at his door, all sudden he must hear. His head a little raised above the covering soft, he grasped the curtain edge and lifted it aloft, and waiteth warily to what fate might hold. It was the lady fair, most lovely to behold. Gently she drew the door behind her, closing tight, and came toward the couch. Shamed was the gallant knight, he laid him lightly down, and made as though he slept. So stole she to his side, and light and soft she stepped. The curtain upward cast within its fold she crept, and there upon his bed her seat she soft doth take, waiting in patience until that he awake. Cautious and quiet, awhile the knight half hidden lay, and in his conscience conned the case with care alway. What might the meaning be, he marvelled much, I trow, yet quoth within himself, it were more seemly now to speak with gentle speech, as what her will may be. So made he faint to wake, and turned him presently, lifted his eyelids then, and stared as in a maze, made of the cross the sign, that so his words and ways be wise. Her chin and cheeks are sweet, in red and white devise, gracious she doth him greet, with laughing lips and eyes.
Good morrow, Sir Gawain.
So spake the lady fair.
Careless sleeper ye, I came ere ye were ware. Now are ye trapped and taken, as ye shall truly know. I'll bind ye in your bed ere that ye hence should go.
Laughing, the lady lanced her jest at him alway. Sir Gawain answered blithe,
Give ye good morrow gay. Know I am at your will, forsooth it pleaseth me, and here for grace I yearn, yielding me readily. For where one needs must yield, to do so swift were best.
And thus he answer made, with many a merry jest.
But might I, lady fair, find grace before your eyes, then loose I pray your bonds, and bid your prisoner rise. I get me from this bed, and better clad I trow, and in your converse kind comfort would find a now. Nay, forsooth, Beausire,
so quoth the lady sweet,
ye shall not rise from bed, I'll read your counsel meet. For shall I hold ye here, since other may not be, and talk with this my knight, who captive is to me? For well I know, in sooth, ye are that same Gawain, worshipped by the world, for ye are fair to be fain. For all your honour praise, your gracious courtesy, or lords or ladies fair, all men on earth to be. Now are ye here, I wis, and all alone we twain, my lord to fare afield with his free folk is fain. The men they lie abed, as do my maidens all. The door is safely shut, and closed and hasp withal. Since him whom all praise I in my hand hold fast, I will well use my time the while the chance does last. Now rest. My body is at your will to use as ye think best. But first, I find me still servant to this my guest.
In good faith, quoth Gawain.
Now bethink me well, I be not such as one as this your tale would tell, to reach such reverence as ye rehearse, but now I all unworthy were, that do I soothly vow. Yet, God but, I were glad, and so ye thought it good, if I in word and deed were at your service stood, to pleasure this your prayer, a pure joy twere to me. In good faith, Sir Gawain,
The lady answered free.
the prowess and the praise that please us ladies fair, I lack not, nor hold back, but little gain it were. Ladies there be now to whom it were more dear to hold their knight in hold, e'en as I hold you here, do dally daintily with courteous words and fair, that bring them comfort good and cure them of their care, than wealth of treasure told, or gold they own withal. But now I praise the Lord, who here upholdeth all him whom they all desire is in my hold and hall of grace.
She made him such good cheer, that lady fair of face, the knight was fain to hear and answer in his place. He quoth,
Now, merry maid, reward ye as she may. I find your frankness fair and noble, sooth to say. Full many folk, I trow, have well entreated me, yet greater honour far than all their courtesy I count your praise, who naught save goodness here shall know. A merry maid,
she quoth,
methinks it is not so, for were my worth above all women who may live, and all this world's wealth were in my hand to give, and I were free of choice a lord to choose to me, then, for the custom's good, I in this knight must see, for beauty debonair, for bearing blithe and gay, for all I have heard, and hold for truth alway, upon no man on mould, save ye my choice were laid. I wot well,
quoth the knight,
a better choice ye made, yet am I proud of this, the praise ye give me. My sovereign ye and I your servant verily do yield me here your knight, and may Christ ye repay.
They spoke of many things till noon had passed away, and the lady made mean that she loved him well, and he turned aside her sweet words as they fell, for were she braddest maid of maidens to his mind, the less love he shew, since loss he thought to find anon the blow that should him slay, and for this blow was boon, the lady leave did pray, he granted her full soon. Then as she gave good-bye, she laughed with glance so gay, and standing spake a word, which stonied him alway.
May he, who speedeth speech, reward thee well, I trow, but that ye be Gawain, I much misdoubt me now.
And wherefore, quoth the knight, in fashion frank and fair, fearing lest he have failed in custom debonair, the lady blessed him then, and spake as in this wise.
Gawain, so good a knight is holden in all eyes, so clad in courtesy is he, in sooth, that ne'er had he thus holden speech for long with lady fair, and he had craved a kiss by this his courtesy, or trifling token taken at the end of converse free.
Then quoth Gawain,
Gowis, if this ye fit in theme, I'll kiss at your command, as doth a knight beseem, who tarrieth to ask and doth refusal fear.
She clasped it in her arms even as she stood anear. Lightly she bent down and kissed that knight so free, commending him to Christ, as he her, courteously. Then without more ado, forth from the door she went. The knight made haste to rise, on speed was his intent. He called his chamberlain, his robes he chose anon, when he was fitly garbed to massy blithe was gone, and sat him down to meat. 'Twas served in fitting guise. Merry he passed the day, until the moon did rise made game. Better was never knight entreated of fair dame old, or of beauty bright, than he was at that same. And I, the lord and land, find sport unto his mind, hunting o'er hill and heath, chasing the barren hind. So many hath he slain ere yet the sun was low, of does and other deer, a wonder 'twas to know. The folk together flock when as the end drew near, quickly a quarry make of all the slaughtered deer. The best they bowed thereto with many a knight to aid, the fairest hinds of Greece together they have laid. Set them to quartering there, e'en as the need doth ask. The fat was set aside by those who knew their task. From all uncleanness freed, the flesh they sever there. Chest they slit and draw the herb forth with care. With knife both sharp and keen, the neck they next divide. Then sever all four limbs and strip off fair the hide. The belly open slit, the bowels aside they lay. With swift strokes of knife the knot they cut away. They grip the gargalon and speedily divide. With sand the windpipe then, the guts are cast aside. Shoulder blade around, with blade so sharp and keen, they cut and leave the side whole and untouched, I ween. The breast they deftly carve, the halves they lie atwin, and with the gargalon their work they now begin. They rip it swiftly up and take it clean away. Void the advancers out, and then methinks straightway the skin betwixt the ribs they cut and fashion fair, till they have left them all in to the backbone bare. So come they to the haunch that doth belong thereto. They bear it up all whole, and cleanly cut it through, that with the numbles take alike they be the two of kind. Then, where the thighs divide, the flaps they cut behind, and thus on either side, thighs from the back unbind. Then head and neck alike they hew off with heed. The sides from off the kine are sundered now with speed. The corby's feet they cast into the wood hard by. Each thick side through the ribs they piece it verily, and hang them all aloft, fixed to the haunches fair. Each fellow for his feed doth take as fitting there. Then on a deer skin spread they give the hounds their food. The liver, lights, and paunch to keep the custom good. The bread soaked in the blood they scatter mid the pack. The hounds they bay amain, nor bugle blast doth lack. Thus, with the venison good, they take the homeward way, sounding upon their horns of merry note and gay. By that the day is done, the folk with eventide, that comely castle sought, wherein their gust doth bide full still. To bliss and firelight brought, the Lord is come at will, to meet that goodly night. Of joy they had their fill. Then, at the Lord's command, the folk they thither call. Quickly the ladies come, and maidens one and all, and there before the folk he bids his men straightway. The venison they have brought before them all to lay, and then in goodly jest he calleth Sir Gawain. The tale of that day's sport he to rehearse is fain. Shows him how fair the fat upon the ribs, sharp shorn, and quoth, How seemeth this? Have I won praise this morn? Am I through this my craft worthy of praise from thee?
Yea, soothly,
quoth Gawain,
the fairest game I see that I in winter time have seen this 7 year.
And all this, quoth the host, Gawain, I give thee here by covenant and accord the whole thou may well claim.
'Tis sooth,
then said the knight,
I grant ye at this same, one have I worthily apprised these walls within which, with as good a will, ye now from me must win.
With that he clasped his hands around his neck so fair, and in right comely wise he kissed him then and there.
Now here hast thou my gain, no more hath fallen to me. I trow had it been more my gift were none the less free.
'Tis good, quoth the good knight, nor shall my thanks be slow, yet might it better be, and I the truth might know where thou didst win this grace, or by thy wit, or no.
Ask no more,
quoth Gawain,
so did our forward stand. Since ye had taken your right, no more may ye demand.
At will they laughed and made them gay, with many a jest, I trow, to supper go straightway with dainties new and now. Then by the hearth they sit on silken cushions soft, and wine within those walls I wot they serve full oft. And ever, as they jest, come morrow morn, they say that forward they'll fulfill which they have kept today. What chance soe'er betide, they will exchange their gain when they at nightfall meet, be it much or little taken. This covenant they accord, in presence of the court, and beverage to the board at that same time was brought, courteous leave at last, doth each other from other take, and each man for his bed himself doth ready make. The cock at early morn had crowed and cackled thrice, when swift the Lord arose, with him his knights of price. They hearken mass and meet, with service fit they bring, then forth to forest fair ere yet the day doth spring for chase. With sound of hunters' horns o'er plain they swiftly pace, uncoupled midst the thorns each hound doth run a race. Full soon they strike the scent, hard by a rock withal. Huntsmen cheer on those hounds who first upon it fall, loudly with whirling words, and clamorant rising high. The hounds that heard the call haste hither at the cry, fast on the scent they fall, full 40 at that tide, till of the pack the cry was heard both far and wide. So fiercely rose their bay, the rocks they rang again. The huntsmen with their horns to urge them on were fain. Then sudden all the pack together crowd and cry before a thicket dense, beneath a crag full high, hard by the water's edge. The pack with one consent run rugged to the rocks, which lie all scarred and rent. Hounds to the fine and fair, the men they follow keen, and cast about the crag and rocks that lie between. The knights, full well they know what beast had here its lair, and fain would drive it forth before the bloodhounds there. Then on the bush they beat, and bid the game uprise. With sudden rush across the beaters out there hies a great and grisly boar, most fearsome to behold. The herd he long had left, for that he waxed full old of beast, and boar methinks biggest and fiercest he. I trow at his grunt many a grieved must be. 3 at the first assault prone on the earth he threw, and sped forth at best speed, nor other harm they knew. Then hey, and hey, the knights halloo with shout and cry. Huntsmen with horn to mouth send forth shrill notes and high. Merry the noise of men and dogs, I ween, that tide who followed on the boar. With boastful shout they cried to stay. The hound's wrath would he quell, oft as he turned to bay. Loudly they yelp and yell, his tusks they tear away. The men make ready then their arrows sharp and keen. The darts they swiftly fly, oft he is hit, I ween. But never point may pierce, nor on his hide have hold, and never barb may bite his forehead's fearsome fold. The shafts are splintered there, shivered, they needs must fall. The heads they bitten did, yet but rebounded withal. And when he felt the blows, though harmless as they fell, then mad for rage he turned, and venged him passing well. He rushed upon the knights, and wounded them full sore, until, for very fear, they fled his face before. The Lord, on steed swift pace, doth follow in his track, blowing his bugle loud, nor valor doth he lack. Thus through the woods he rides, his horn rings loud and low, upon the wild boar's track, until the sun was low. And so the winter's day he passeth on his wise, the while his goodly guest in bed neath covering lies. Sir Gawain bides at home in gear of rich device and hue. The dame made no delay to greet her knight so true. Early she took her way to test his mood anew. So she to the curtain comes, and looks upon the knight. Gawain doth greet her there, in fitting wise and right. She greeteth him again, ready of speech is she. Soft seats her at his side, and laughs full merrily. Then, with a smile and grace, these words to him doth say.
Sir, an ye be Gawain, I marvel much alway. So stern ye be when one would goodly ye entreat, of courteous company ignore the customs meet. And one be fain to teach, swift from your mind they are brought. Since all forgotten now, what yesterday I taught by truest tokens all, that well might be, I trow.
What is that? Quoth Gawain. Not I remember now, but if 'tis sooth ye seek, then blame I needs must bear.
Of kissing was my rede.
So quoth the lady fair.
When countenance be known, swiftly a kiss to claim, that doth become a knight who beareth courteous name.
Nay, cease, my dear, such speech. So quoth the gallant knight.
A kiss I dare not claim, yes, ye deny my right. For an ye did forbid to take, I trow, were young. I' faith,
in merry wise she spoke.
Ye be too strong. Ye may not be forbid, since ye may take with might, and any do such wrong as to deny thy right.
Yea, quoth Gawain.
By Christ, your speech it soundeth well, but threats shall little drive in that land where I dwell, nor count we fair a gift that is not proffered free. I am at your command to kiss, if so shall be your will, to take her leave, as seemeth good to ye.
With grace she bent that lady fair, and gently kissed his face. They hold a sweet converse there, of love names speak a space.
Fain I ask of ye that lady question free. If so ye were not worth, what may the reason be that one so young and fair as ye be at this tide? For knightly courtesy renowned both far and wide, who of all chivalry the head and chief men hold, versed in the lore of love and warfare, fierce and bold. Since each true knight doth tell how he did venture dare, this token and this sign his deeds perforce must bear. How for a lady's love his life at stake he set, and for her favour fair full doleful dents hath met. With valour venged her wrongs and cured her of her care, brought bliss into her bower, and did her bounteous share. And ye be comeliest knight of this your land and time. Your worship and your words be famed in every clime. And I, 2 mornings long, have sat beside ye here, yet never from your mouth a word came to mine ear that ever dealt to love, in measure less or more. But ye, so courteous held, so skilled in all such lore, sure to one so young as I should swiftly show, and teach some token sure, whereby true love to know. Are ye unlearned then, whom men so highly prize, or am I too dull for dalliance in your eyes? For shame, hither I come to sit, to learn as at this same, so teach me of your wit, while sport my lord doth claim.
In of faith, quoth Gawain, your good deeds God repay, for goodly is my glee, my profit great alway, that one so fair as ye doth deign betake ye here to please so poor a man. And me your knight to cheer with kindly countenance, in sooth doth please me well. But that I in my turn should hear of true love tell, and take that for my theme, or tales of gallant knight, and teach ye, who I wot doth wield more skilful sleight in such arts by the half or hundredfold indeed, that I, long as I live on earth, may win for meed. 'Twere folly all indeed, sweet lady, by my fay. Your will in troth I'll work in such wise as I may, as duteous I am bound, and evermore will do your service faithfully. God grant me grace thereto. Thus did she ask him fair, and oft did test and try to win him here to woo, whatever will thereby. But he doth fend him fair, nor ill hath done, I ween, and never deed of wrong hath chanced between but bliss. They laugh and talk amain. At last she doth him kiss, her leave of him hath taken, and gone her way, I wis. Then doth Sir Gawain rise, and robe him master here. Then was the dinner dight, and served with mickle cheer. Thus with ladies twain in sport the day he spent, the while the lord doth chase the boar o'er bank and bent. Follows the grisly swine as o'er the holts it sped, with broken back his hounds beneath its jaws fall dead. The boar would bide at bay, the bowman grant no grace, but force him 'gainst his will once more his foes to face. So fast the arrows fly, the folk they gather round, yet huntsman stiff and stern he startles at that sound, till spent with flight at last he may no further win, but hies him in all haste until a hole within a mound beside a rock, hard by the brooklet's flow. He gains, then turns at bay, tearing the ground below. His jaws they foam and froth, unseemly to behold. He whets his tusks so white. Was never man so bold of those who faced him there, who dared the issue try. They eye him from afar, but none will venture nigh, right wroth. Many smote before, thus all might well be loath to face the tusks that tore, so mad was he at troth. Then cometh swift the Lord, spurring his goodly steed, seeth the boar at bay, of his men taketh heed. He lighteth from the horse, leaves it with hanging rein, draws out his blade so bright, and strideth forth amain. Fast does he ford the stream, the board bides on the strand. Ware of the gallant wight, with weapon fast in hand, his bristles rise amain, grim were his snarls withal. The folk were sore afraid lest harm their lord befall. The swine, with spring so swift, upon the hero fell. The board and barren bold none might asunder tell. There, in the water deep, the boar he had the worst, for the man marked him well, e'en as they met at first. His sharp blade in the slot he set, e'en to the heft, and, driving hard and true, the heart asunder cleft. Snarling, he yields his hold, the stream him hence hath reft. Forthright, the hounds with fierce onslaught fall to the boar they bite. Swift to the shore he's brought, and dogs to death him dight. Forthwith from many a horn a joyful blast they blow. Huntsmen together vie, high rings the loud hallo. The brackets bay their best, e'en at their master's will, who in that fearsome chase hath proved their hunter's skill. And then a wight so wise in woodcraft, fit and fair, the quarry to unlace hath set him straightway there. He heweth off the head and setteth it on high. With skill he rendeth down the backbone presently. Then, bringing forth the bowels, roasts them on embers red, and, to reward his hounds, doth blend them with their bread. He strippeth off the brawn, e'en as in shields it were. The haslets hath he taken, and drawn them forth with care. The halves he taketh now, and binds them as a whole, with withy stiff and stout, made fast unto a pole. And with that selfsame swine, homeward they fare through land. The boar's head do they bear before their lord on brand, who slew him in the ford by force of his right hand so strong. Till he might see Gawain in hall, he deemed it long. His guest he was full fain to pay, nor do him wrong. The lord with merry jest and laugh of gladsome glee, soon as he saw Gawain, spake forth both fair and free. The ladies too he bade, even with the household all. The board shields doth he show, and tell his tale withal. How broad he was, how long, how savage in his mood, that grisly swine, and how they chased him through the wood. Sir Gawain doth commend his deeds in company wise. Well hath he proved himself to win so fair a prize. For such a brawny beast, so spake that baron bold, and such shields of a swine my eyes did ne'er behold. They handle the huge head, the knight doth praise it well, and loud and fair his speech, his host his mind may tell. Gawain, quoth the good man, this gain is sure your own, by forward fair and fast, even as before was shown. Yea, quoth the knight, 'tis true, and here too by troth I give you all my gain, nor thereto am I lost. With that he clasped his host, and doth him kindly kiss, and so a second time he did the same, I wis. Now are we, quoth Gawain, quit in this evertide, of forwards all we made since I with ye abide in hall. The Lord quoth, by St. Giles I hold ye best withal. Rich are ye in sport, while your profits be not small. The tables then they bring, on trestles set aloft, and covered them as meet with cloths both fair and soft. Clear falleth on the walls of wax and torch the light. Sithen to service fair they set them many a night. Then clamour clad and glee arose within the hall, where flares the flame on floor, they make much mirth withal. They sing, e'en as they sup, and after a night so true, fair songs of Christmastide, and many a carol new, with every kind of mirth that man to tell were fain. And by that lady's side he sat the good Gawain. Such semblance fair she made, and seemly wise and meet, to please the gentle knight, with stolen glances sweet. Whereas he marvelled much, and chid himself amain, yet for his courtesy would answer not again, dealing in dainty wise, till fate the die was fain to cast. Thus made they mirth in hall, long as their will did last. Then when the Lord did call, to chimney corner passed. They drank and dallied there, and deemed 'twere well to hold their forward fast and fair till New Year's Eve were told. But Gawain prayed his leave, with morrow's morn to ride, since it were nigh the term his challenge to abide. The Lord withheld his leave, bringing him straight to stay. As I be faithful knight, I pledge my troth alway. Thou shalt thy tryst fulfill there at the chapel green, before the New Year's morn hath waxed in prime, I ween. So lie, and rest thee soft, and take thine ease at will, and I shall hunt the holts, and keep our forward still to change my gain with thee. all that I homeward bear. Twice have I tested thee, and found thee true and fair. A third time will we try our luck at dawn of day. Now think ye upon joy, be merry while ye may, for men may laugh at loss, if so their will alway. Gawain doth grant the grace, and saith he will abide. Blithely they brought him drink, and then to bed they hied with light. Sir Gawain lies and sleeps soft through the stilly night. The Lord his covenant keeps, for chase is early dight. A morsel after mast he taketh with his men. Merry the morning tide his mouth he prayeth then. They who a horse should hold him company that day, a saddle all, their steeds before the hall gate stay. Full fair it was afield, the frost yet fast doth cling. Ruddy and red the sun its rising beams doth fling, and clear and cloudless all appears the welkin wide. The houndsmen scatter them hard by a woodland side. The rocks they rang again before the horn's loud blast. Some fell upon a track where late a fox had passed. The trail may oft betray, though fox no feint doth lack. A hound hath found the scent, the hunt is on his track. The dogs they follow fast, and thick the hue and cry. They run in rabble rout on trail speedily. The fox he fled apace, the hounds their prey hath seen, and once within their sight they follow fast and keen. Loudly they threaten there with cry and clamor fierce. The fox with twist and turn the undergrowth doth pierce, winding and hearkening oft, low through the hedge doth creep. Then by little ditch doth o'er us many leap. So still he stealeth forth by rough and rugged way, thinking to clear the wood and cheat the hounds that day. Then, ere he wist, I trow, to Hunter's tryst he came. Threatening he was threefold by hounds as at that same from fray. He starteth swift aside and fled as he were fey. Fain was he at that tide to seek the woodland way. 'Twas lively then to list the hounds as loud they cry, when all the pack had met and mingled speedily. Such wrath, methinks, adown upon his head they call, as all the climbing cliffs have clashed unto their fall. Hunters, with loud halloo, sight of their prey do hail. Loudly they chide the fox, nor scolding speech doth fail. Threaten him once and oft, and thief they call him there. The hounds are on his trail, tarry he may not dare. Off would they him outrun, and head him ere they passed. Double again he must, wily the fox and fast. Thus by his skill he led master and huntsman bold, o'er hill, o'er dale, by mount, by woodland, and by wold. While the good knight at home doth soundly sleep, I ween, all comely curtain round on morning cold and keen. But love the lady fair had suffered not to sleep, that purpose to impair which she in heart doth keep. Quickly she rose her up, and thither took her way, in mantle meet enwrapped, which swept the ground all way. Within, 'twas finely furred, and bordered with the same. No gold doth bind her head, but precious stones of flame within her tresses wound. By 20s clustered fair, her face and eager throat the mantle leaveth bare. Bare is her snow-white breast, and bare her back to sight. Passing the chamber door, she shuts it close and tight. Setting the window wide, she calls her knight alway, and laughing, chideth him in merry words and gay with cheer.
Ah, man, why dost thou sleep? The morn draws fair and clear.
Gawain in slumber deep, dreaming, her voice did hear. Drowsing he dreamed the night, a dream with travail fraught, as men in morning hours are plagued with troubled thought. How destiny next morn his weird should duly dight, when, at the chapel green, he needs must meet that night. There his buffet bide, nor make therefore debate, but, come that comely dame, his wits he summoned straight, aroused him from his sleep, and spake full speedily. That lady drew anigh, sweet was her smile to see. She's bent her o'er his face, and kissed him, fair and free. A greeting fit he gave in words of gladsome cheer, so glorious her guise clad in such goodly gear. Her features faultless all, her color fair and fine. Springs of joy well free, warm in his heart like wine. There seamless smiles full swift were smitten into mirth. Bliss and good fellowship betwixt twain to birth did win. Their words were fair and good. Weal reigned those walls within, yet peril twixt them stood. nor might she nearer win. She pressed that prince of brass so close, I trow, that day, leaning so nigh her point that need upon him lay to take her proffered love, or roughly say her nay. For courtesy is care, lest he be craven knight, and more let mischief fall in that he sin outright, and thus betray his host, the lord of house and hall. God shield me, quoth the knight, that ere such chance befall. Forthwith with laughter light he strove to lay aside all speech of special grace her lips might speak that tide. Then quoth she to the knight,
I hold ye worthy blame, and ye love not that life which here your love doth claim, and lieth wounded here above all else on earth. Save ye a true love have ye hold of better worth, and to that lady fair your faith so fast ye hold. Ye may not list my words, save ye that tale have told that I will not believe. I pray ye of a sooth, for all the love on life, hide not me from the truth for guile.
quoth the knight,
By Saint John,
and gaily did he smile,
of true love I have none, nor will I for a while.
That word,
the lady quoth,
methinks hath grieved me more, yet I my answer take, although I sorrow sore. But kiss me kindly now, ere yet I go my way. My fate is morn on mould, as she who loveth may.
Sighing, she swayed down, and kissed the knight so good, then raised her up again, and spaking as she stood,
At this our parting dear, grant me this grace for love. Give me somewhat as gift, if it be but thy glove, that I may take on thee, and so my grief may still.
Now I wis,
quoth the knight,
I would I had at will the thing I hold on earth most precious. It were thine. Ye have deserved, I trow, by friendship fair and fine, a guerdon goodlier far than I might e'er bestow. But here, my gift of love, small profit may ye know. Now were ye honored now, had ye at this time aught or glove or other gift from Gawain as ye sought? Here through the land I fare on errands strange and dread. No men have I with mails or trinkets at this stead. That much misliketh me, lady, for this thy sake. Yet be it for good or ill, each man his chance must take aright.
Thou knight of honor, nay,
so spake the lady bright.
though no gift be of my pay, somewhat I'll give my knight.
She proffered him a ring of red gold, fashioned fair, sparkling stone, I trow, aloft the setting bare. Its gleam, in sooth, outshone the sunlight's ruddy ray. I wot well that its worth no man might lightly pay. Gawain the ring refused, and readily he spake.
No gift, my lady gay, of goodwill will I take. Since I have naught to give, naught will I take of thee.
Straightly she prayed. Gawain refused her steadfastly. Swear swiftly on his suit that ring he would not take. The lady, sorely grieved, in this wise further spake.
Then ye refuse my ring. Methinks the cause shall be, ye deem ye were too much beholden unto me. I'll here my girdle give as lesser gift this tide.
She loosed a silken lace that hung low at her side. Upon her kirtle knit, beneath her mantle's fold, with green silk was it gay, entwined with threads of gold, braided in cunning wise by skilful fingers wrought. She proffered it the knight, and blithely him besought to take it as her gift, though worthless all it were. But still he said her nay, and ever steadfast sware he would nor gift nor gold, ere God would give him grace well to achieve the chance towards which he set his face.
Therefore I pray ye now, be not displeased at this, but let the matter be. I may not grant, I wish, thy prayer. Much do I owe to thee for this thy gentle care. By heat, by cold, I'll be thy servant everywhere.
Do ye refuse this silk?
So quoth the gentle dame.
For its simplicity, I grant ye of that same. Lo, it is light to hold, unless its cost I wane. Yet who the virtue knew that knit therein hath been, would peradventure prize its higher for its grace. Whoso shall gird himself with this same woven lace, and while 'tis knotted well around him, 'tis a charm, and no man upon mould may wreak him hurt or harm. And ne'er may he be slain by magic or by spell.
Sir Gawain in his heart that hour bethought him well that laced jewel against the jeopardy which, at the chapel green, did wait him presently. Might he escape unslain, the slight he deemed were good. Thus suffered he her prayer, and showed a gentler mood. She pressed on him her gift, and urged him loud and still. He granted her the grace, she gave it of good will, and, for her sake, besought he tell the matter ne'er, but hide it from her lord, he sware it fast and fair, that no man, save them twain, should this their secret share for naught. He thanked her oft, I wist, joyful of heart and thought. Her true knight did she kiss, thrice, ere she leave besought. Then laughing saith,
Farewell.
and from the room doth go. For more mirth of that man I wot she may not know. When she hath gone, Gawain doth from his couch arise, and swiftly robe himself in rich and royal wise, taketh the Lovelace green, his lady's gift so fair, that wound around his waist he doth well hidden bear. Then to the chapel swift the knight doth take his way, and, seeking out a priest, he privily doth pray. He may his life unfold, that he may better know how this soul may be saved, when he from hence shall go. Tried was he surely there, he shewed his misdeeds all, or less they be or more, and did for mercy call. Then from the listening priest doth absolution pray. Assoiled well he was, and set as clean all way, as if the morrow's morn the day of doom should be. Sithen he makes good cheer amid the ladies free, with comely carols there all joys been made of vise, as never before that day methinks had been his wise, with bliss, that all men marvelled there, and said of him I wis, such semblance gay he wear, as none had seen ere this. Now let him linger there where love his share shall be. The Lord is yet afield, leading his folk so free. Now hath he slain the fox that he hath chased all day, as through spinny sped, eager to spy his prey. There, where he heard the hounds that close on his tracks lay, lo, Renard running low, through tangled grove he steals, and all the yelping pack of hounds are at his heels. The night he saw the beast, and would his coming wait, drew forth his brand so bright, and flung it swift and straight. The fox, the sharp sword sunned, to swerve aside was fain. A hound doth hold him fast ere he might turn again. Beneath the horse's feet the pack upon him fell, worried their wily prey with many a yelp and yell. The Lord he lights it down, the fox he seizes there. Swiftly he snatches him from out the jaws that tear. Holding him eye o'erhead he'll lose loud and gay, where many a gallant hound doth round him spring and bay. Thither the huntsmen hie, their hounds sound merrily, answering each to each till all their masters see that noble company. They gather fair and fast, all who the bugle bear together blew a blast, while they who had no horn they hallooed loud and clear. It was the merriest meet that ever man might hear, the clamor that was raised o'er Renard's doom so drear, then gay. The hounds they were reward, rubbing their heads that day, now they had taken Renard and stripped his pelt away. And then they hied them home, for nightfall was full nigh, blowing a shattering blast on horn with notes so high. The Lord at last alights before his home so dear. A fire he finds on floor, his guest he sitteth near. Gawain the good, who glad and joyous was withal, for mid the ladies fair, bliss to his lot did fall. He wear a robe of blue, e'en to the earth that fell. His surcoat, softly furred, became him passing well. Of self-same stuff the hood upon his shoulders lay, bordered and bound the twain with fur alike that day. His host he met forthwith there in the midmost hall, a goodly greeting gave, and joyful spake withal.
Now shall I first fulfill thy forward, mine and thine, which we together swear whenas ye spared no wine.
With that he clasped the knight, and gave him kisses 3, setting them on his lips with all solemnity. By Christ, then, quoth the host, good fortune yours have been, if for such chance ye gave in fair exchange, I ween.
There of small need to speak,
The hero straightway said,
since light the cost and swift methinks the price I paid.
By Mary, quoth the host, in that I am behind. I hunted all this day, and yet I not might find save this foul fox's pelt. Fain take the thing alway. He thanks for precious gifts the same we're sorry pay, and ye have rendered me 3 kisses here today, right good.
Enough,
Quoth Sir Gawain,
I thank thee by the rood.
and then how the fox was slain he told them as they stood. Of mirth and minstrelsy of meat they take their fill, and make them merry there as men may do at will. With ladies' laughter light, and many a merry jest, so joyful were the twain, the host and his good guest. E'en as they drunken were, or e'en had waxen fay, the lord and he and his men made many a jest so gay, until at length the time for severance was o'erpast, each baron to his bed betook him to the last. Then first Sir Gawain good leave of his host would pray, thanking him fair and free, and thus he spoke all way.
For this fair sojourner your honor be increased. The high king grant you this, I pray, at this high feast. Your servant here I am, and so your will may be. With more I needs must fare, e'en as I told ye, a guide ye promise sure, to show me the way to that same chapel green, where on the New Year's Day with God's will shall be dealt my doom, and this my weird.
In good faith, quoth the host, be not for that afeard. Of good will shall I give all that to ye I had. A servant then he called to show the way aright. Fair are the downs that so Gawain should have no need to win by words, but through the copse might make with speed his way. For gracious fair Gawain with gracious words would pay, and from the ladies twain his leave was lot to pay. Carefully kissed the twain, and spake them both full fair. Well may they thrive, for thanks he presseth on them there. And in that self same wise those ladies make reply, commending him to Christ with many a piteous sigh. Then from the household all in courteous wise he'd part, and each man that he met he thanked them from his heart for service, solace fair, and for the pains they knew in that they bruised them to do him service true. And all to say farewell. I trow such sorrow felt as if in worthy wise long years with him they dwelt. With torches burning bright they to his chamber led, and that he well might rest blithely brought him to bed. But that he soundless slept in sooth I dare not say. Matter enow had he that came with dawn and day for thought. Now let him lie there still, he knoweth what he sought. If hearkening me ye will, I'll tell you how they rot. Book 4. Now nigheth the new year, past are the hours of night, and e'en as the God doth will, darkness must yield to light. But weather wild awakes e'en with the new year's birth. Aloft the driving clouds cast the keen cold to earth, and now of north therein the naked white to slay. The snow it smartly drave across the fields that day. With whistling blast the wind doth whirl it from on high, till in each dale the drift both wide and deep they lie. The night he hearkened well, as in his bed he lay, but though his eyes were shut, little he slept alway. But every cock that crew the hour right well he knew, and lightly gat him up ere yet to dawn it drew. For in the chamber burned a lamp that gave him light. His chamberlain he called, who answered him forthright, bade him his byrnie bring, and saddle his good steed. The other gat him up, and swiftly fetched his weed. Then was Sir Gawain clad in fitting wise and fair. First in his clothes he's wrapped, the cold from him to wear. Then he his harness doffs, that well was kept I ween. The plates, the coat of mail, the lacquer polished clean, and of his byrnie rich the rings from rust are freed. 'Twas fresh as at the first, of thanks he fain full meed would bring. It did on him each piece, they lacked no burnishing, gayest from here to Greece, his steed he bade them bring. The while in richest weed he doth himself array, his coat with cognizance embroidered clear and gay, on velvet, rich adorned with stones of virtue high, well wrought and bound, the seams embroidered cunningly, and all with fairest skins, within well furned and lined. The lace, the lady's gift, he doth not leave behind. Gawain forgot it not, since 'twas for his own good. He belted fast his brand around him as he stood, then twined the token twice, and drew it round him tight. Well did that silken cord enswathe the goodly knight, the girdle of green silk, in sooth, beseemed him well. On cloth of royal red its hues they richly tell. But for that girdle's grace he wear it not the night, nor for the pendant's pride, though polished they and bright, nor for the glittering gold, whose gleam the ends doth light, but 'twas to save himself, when he must shortly stand, and bade without debate from knife or glittering brand a blow. Now, armed, the goodly knight forth from the hall did go, on all who there bedight his thanks he would bestow. Ready was Gringolet, his charger, great and tall. Stabled the steed had been, and fitting wise withal. Eager to start, the horse delay might little brook. The knight, he drew near, and on his coat did look. Spake softly to himself, and by his sooth he sware,
the men within this hall for honor fitly care. May they, with their good lord, all joy henceforthward share. And may love be her meed through life, that fair lady, who thus a passing guest cherished for charity. And honor hold in hand, may he repay withal, who rules on high, the folk within this goodly hall. If I my life on land might somewhat longer lead, then readily a reward I'll give, as fits your meed.
He to the stirrup steps, and doth his steed bestride. Upon his shoulder lays his shield as fit that tide. Then spurreth Gringolet anon with spurs of gold. The steed no longer stands, but on the stone so cold doth dance. Mounted, his squire doth bear aloft his spear and lance.
Christ keep this castle fair, and give it a good chance.
They let the bridge down, the gateway broad and wide. Unbar and open set the door on either side. The knight he crossed himself, and past the castle bound, praised the border good, who, kneeling low on ground, gave him good day, and prayed that God might save Gawain. So doth he wend his way, with one wight on his train, to lead him to that place of peril stern and grim, where he must pay the price, where bale awaiteth him. By hedgerow winds their way, where boughs are stripped and bare. Anon they climb the cliffs, where cold and chill the air. The heaven it showers upheld, but here on earth 'twas ill. In mist was merged the moor, mist clung to every hill. Each wear a cap of cloud and cloak of mist so dank. Bubble in the brooks they break and foam upon the bank. Splashed sheer upon the shores there, where they shelved adown. Yet lone and drear the way, beneath the dark woods frown. Upon the rising sun with gold the hill crest crown that tide. They climbed a hill full high, white snow lay upon its side. The guide, who rode hard by, now bade him to abide. Now, Lord, as I was pled, I have ye hither led. Now are ye nigh the place of note, your quest is sped, that ye have straitly sought, and asked for specially. But now I know ye well, in sooth I'd say to ye, since ye be such a lord that men full well may love, would ye but work my will, your welfare might approve. The place whereto ye pass, right perilous men hold. A wight doth ward that waste, the worst is he on mould. For stiff is he and stern, and over king to strike. For hide on middle earth no man hath seen his lack. Bigger of body he than any four who won a place on Arthur's house, ye, even where Hector won. And this is custom cursed, here at the chapel green. There passeth never man, though proud in arms I ween, but he doth do to death by dint of deadly blow. For all discourteous he, nor mercy doth he know. Chaplain be he or churl, who by that chapel rides, mass priest or hooded monk, or any man beside, is he as fain to slay as he himself to live. So soothly as ye sit on steed, this rede I give. Go ye there, but with his will, ye come not hence alive. Trow me, I speak the truth, yea, had ye 20 lives to spend. Long time hath he dwelt here, his conquests know no end. Against his dents so drear, no shield may yet defend. Wherefore, Sir Gawain good, let ye this man alone. And for God's sake, I pray, from this place get ye gone. Ride by some other road, Christ speed ye on your way. I'll hie me home again, but this I'll do alway. I'll take an oath by God, and all the saints that be, or by such hallows all as shall seem best to ye, that I will hold my peace, and never tell a tale, that ye to face your foe one time for fear did fail.
Gramercy,
Quoth Gawain, and in sooth ill pleased was he.
all good may he receive who wisheth good on me, but thou wouldst silence keep, I well believe of thee. But tried be thou and true. If I should turn me here, and by thy counsel take, and fly for fear, I were a coward knight, excused I might not be, but at the chapel green I'll chance it verily, and with that same man I'll speak, e'en as shall please me well, be it for weal or woe, as fate the lot may tell. The knave may well be stern in fight, cunning with sword and stave, yet God hath mickle might, his servant true to save.
By Mary, quoth the squire, now ye so much have said, that this your harm henceforth to your own count be led. Since ye will lose your life, I'll hinder not nor let. Take ye your spear in hand, on head the helmet set, and ride adown this road that by yon rock doth wind, till ye the lowest depth of yonder valley find. A little to the left, on a lawn shall ye see, within that dreary dale the chapel verily, and him the grisly giant who shall its keeper be. Now may God keep you well, Sir Gawain, noble knight. For all the gold on earth I would not, and I might in fellowship with ye, but 1 foot further go. With that the squire, he turned his horse's head, and so he spurred him with his heel, and listed not to spare, but sprang across the lawn, and left the hero there alone.
By God,
Thus quoth Gawain,
I'll neither greet nor groan, to God's will am I fain, to him my need is known.
he spurreth Gringolet, and down the path doth ride. Close 'neath the shelving bank, a grove was at his side. He rides the rough road through, right down into the dale, then draweth rein a while, full wild he deemed that vale. No sign of dwelling place he seeth anywhere. On either side the banks rose steeply, bleak and bare, and rough rugged rocks, with many a stony peak, that sunder in shadows cast. The place was ill to seek. Gawain, he stayed his steed, and cast his glance around, and changed full off his cheer, ere he that chapel found. Nor here 'twas seen, nor there, right strange the chance he thought. But soon upon a lawn a law his eye hath caught, a smooth hill by a bank, so close beside a burn, where by a ford the flood forking aside doth turn. E'en as they boiled within, bubble in the water spring. The knight he turned the rein, his horse to halt doth bring. At the law lights it down into a linden bough the rein, and his good steed he maketh fast now. Then hies him to a hill, and walking round about, he cons what might it be. Thereof was he in doubt. A hole was at the end, and one on either side, and all with grass o'ergrown, and clumps of forms that hide. 'Twas hollow all within, e'en as a cavern old, or crevice of a crag, nor might its use be told right well.
Good Lord,
Quoth the good knight,
be this the chapel green? The devil at midnight might hear his matins tell. I wis,
so quoth Gawain,
that wizardry be here. 'Twere ill for prayer this place, o'ergrown with grasses sere. 'Twere fitting, did that wight who wraps himself in green do his devotions here in devil's wise, I ween. By my 5 wits I feel 'tis the foul fiend in truth, who here hath given me tryst, my life he seeks forsooth. A chapel of mischance, ill fortune may it win, 'tis the most cursed kirk I e'er set foot within.
His helmet on his head, his lance gripped fast in hand, he nighes the rock wherein the dwelling rough doth stand. Then from the hill on high, as 'twere from outer rock, on bank beyond a brook, a noise his senses shock. It clatters through the cliffs, as they would cleave in twain, as one to sharpen scythe on grinding stone were fain. Lo, it doth wet and whir as water through a mill. Lo, it doth rush and ring, to hear it was right ill. Then,
By God,
quoth Gawain,
I trow that weapon sheer they sharpened for that knight who bade me meet him here, this stound. Let God work as he will, no help elsewhere were found, though life be forfeit, still I blench not for a sound.
With that the goodly knight, he called with voice so bold,
Who waiteth in this place a tryst with me to hold. For here is Gawain come, here hath he found his way. If any wight will win aught, Let him come today, or now, or never, so his need be fitly sped.
A voice spake from the bank on high above his head. Stay, and I swift will give that which I promised thee. A while the clamor rang, still rushing rapidly. The whetstone whirled a while, ere he his foe might see. And then, beneath a crag, forth from a cave he sprung, and coming from that hole, a weapon round him swung, a Danish axe, new dight, wherewith the blow to deal. Bound to the handle fast was the bright blade of steel, 4 foot long, fitly filed no less, that blade of might, and all was wrapped and bound with lace that gleamed full bright. E'en as before he was in gear of green that night. Green was his face and foot, his hair, his beard's full flow. But this time on the ground that night a foot did go. Stalking, he held the axe, steel downward at his side. Thus to the water winds, and takes it in his stride. He wades not. With his axe he leaps that water's flow, and fierce and bold bestride the bent, all white within the snow that day. Sir Gawain met the knight. No greeting did he pay. The other quoth, Aright, hast thou kept tryst today? Gawain, quoth the Green Knight, now may God give thee grace. Welcome art thou to this my dwelling place. The travel hast thou timed, e'en as true men should. Thou knowest the forward fast we swear betwixt us two, this day a 12-month past thy share thereof to take. And I at this new year should fitting answer make. Here in this dale alone I trow we be today, to deal as likes us best, with none to say us nay. Now doff thy helm from head, thy payment forthwith take, and with no more debate than I with thee did make, when thou whipped off my head with but one sweeping blow.
Nay, by God, quoth Gawain, to whom I owe my life, nor greet will I, nor groan, nor grief will may befall. Deal, and thou wilt the stroke. Still will I stand withal, nor bandy words with thee, nor e'er for mercy call. Straight there he bent down his head, and showed his neck all bare. No sign he gave of dread. He made as free from care. Then swift the knight in green made ready for the fray, and gripped his grim tool fast as fain Gawain to slay. With all his body's force the axe aloft he bare, a mighty feint he made to deal a death blow there. Yea, had he driven it down, and wise as he made show, that valiant knight had died beneath the deadly blow. But as the gisarm fell, Gawain he swerved aside, e'en as with full intent it did toward him glide. His shoulders shrank before the sharply gleaming blade. The other, as he flinched, the axe from falling stayed. He doth reprove the prince in proud and scornful mood. Thou art not that Gawain whom men might deem so good, who never waxed afraid by mountain or by vale. Now, ere thou feelest hurt, for fear thine heart doth fail, such cowardice in such knight I never thought to know. I never flinched nor fled when thou dost aim thy blow. I made no parleying there within King Arthur's hall. My head rolled to my feet. I showed no fear withal. And thou, ere harm be done, full sore afraid doth seem. Henceforth, of us twain the braver men shall deem me. I shrank once,
quoth Gawain,
henceforth thy stroke I'll stay, though none may set again the head that falls today. But haste thee, man of faith, thy task to end to bring. Deal me my destiny, make no more dallying, for I will stand thy stroke and start no more, I trow, till thine axe hitteth me. My word be gaged now.
Have at thee, quoth the knight, and with his axe made play, with wrathful mien and grim, as mad as he were alway. He struck a mighty blow, yet never wound he dealt. The axe his hand withheld, ere Gawain harm had felt. The knight he stroke abode, nor flinched that hero free, but stood as still as stone, or stump of ancient tree, that rooted in the ground with 100 roots hath been. Right gaily then he quote the giant garbed in green. Now thine heart is whole, the stroke I'll deal this tide. Thine hood that Arthur gave I prithee hold aside, and keep thy neck thus bent, that naught may o'er it fall. Gawain was greatly wroth, and grimly spoke withal.
Why talk on thus, Sir Knight, ere long thy threats so bold? I trow me in thine heart misgivings dost thou hold?
Forsooth, quoth the Green Knight, since fierce thy speech alway, I will no longer let thine errand wait its pay to strike. He frowned with lip and brow, made faint as he would strike, who hopes no aid, I trow, may will such pass mislike. Lightly he lifts the axe, and lo, it falleth fair, the sharp blade somewhat bit into the neck so bare. But, though he swiftly struck, he hurt him no whit more, save only on that side where through the skin it shore. Into the flesh I trow it cut, the blade so good, and o'er his shoulders ran to earth the crimson blood. Sir Gawain saw his blood gleam red on the white snow, and swift he sprang aside, more than a spear length's throw. With speed his helmet good upon his head set fast, his trusty shield and drew he o'er his shoulders cast, drew forth his brand so bright, and fiercely spake alway. I trow that in this world he ne'er was half so gay, since first from his mother's womb he saw the light of day.
Now, man, withhold thy blow, and proffer me no more. A stroke here from thy hand without dispute I bore. Wouldst thou another give, that same I'll here repay. Give thee good again, thereto have tryst a day, and now, but one stroke to me falls, so ran the oath I trow, we swear in Arthur's halls, and therefore guard thee now.
The Green Knight drew aback, and on his axe did lean, setting the shaft aground upon the blade so keen. He looked upon the knight awhile, there on the land, doughty and void of dread, dauntless doth Gawain stand, all armed for strife, at heart it pleased him merrily. Then, with voice loud and clear, he spaketh merrily, hailing aloud the knight, gaily to him doth say, Good sir, upon this bent be not so stern today, for none discourteous here methinks mishandled here, nor will saying Enos framed at court and forward free. I promise thee a stroke, thou hast it at this same. With that be thou content, I make no further claim. And such had been my well buffet verily, rougher I might have dealt, and so done worse to thee. Firstly, I menace made but fain had blow, and harmed thee ne'er a whit that I would have thee know, was for the forward fast we made in that first night, when thou didst swear me troth, and kept the truth all right. Thou gavest me all thy gain, e'en as a good knight and true. As for the morrow's morn another faint was due, didst kiss my gentle wife, and kisses gave again. For these two from mine axe 2 blows I did but feign this stead. To true men payment due, of that may none have dread. Then didst withhold my due, therefore thy blood I shed. 'Tis my weed thou dost wear, that self-same lace of green. 'Twas woven by my wife, I know it well, I ween. Thy kisses all I know, thy ways, thy virtues all. The wooing of my wife, 'twas I who willed it all. I bade her test thy truth. By God who gave me birth, thou art the truest knight that ever trode this earth. As one a pearl doth prize, measured against bays though white, so do I hold Gawain above all other knight. Didst thou lack a little, Sir Knight, in loyalty? 'Twas not for woman's love or aught of villainy. 'Twas but for love of life, therefore I blame thee less. A while Sir Gawain stood silent for sorriness. Right sore aggrieved was he, and angered all the same. Then all his body's blood rushed to his face in flame, and all for shame he shrank, while yet the Green Knight spake. Then in his fashion first lament the knight did make.
Covetousness, cursed be thou, and cowardice. In virtue's stead ye bring both villainy and vice.
With that he caught the knot, and loosed the lace so bright, giveth the girdle green again to the Green Knight.
Lo, there the false thing take, a foul fate it befall. Fear of thy blow, it taught me cowardice withal. With custom covetous to league me, and thus wrong largesse and loyalty, which do to knights belong. Faulty am I, and false. To fear hath been a prey. From treachery and untruth is sorrow born alway, and care. So here I owe to thee, that faithless did I fare. Thou take thy will of me, henceforth I'll be more ware.
The Green Knight laughed aloud and spake right merrily. Whole am I of the hurt thou didst deal to me. Thy misdeeds hast thou shown, hast confessed thee clean, hast borne the penance sharp of this mine axe-edge keen. I hold thee here absolved, and purged as clean as morn, as thou hast ne'er done wrong since the day thou wert born. This girdle, hempen in gold, Sir Knight, I give to thee, 'tis green as is my robe, as thou right well mayst see. Look thou thereon, Gawain, when hast thou forth thus fair, mid many a prince of price, and this for token bear of chance midst chivalrous knights, that thou didst here abide. And thou in this new year with me shall homeward ride, with me in revel spent the remnant of this tide, I ween. The Lord held him fast, quoth, Though my wife has been your foe, that is well past. Peace be ye twain between.
Nay, forsooth,
Quoth Gawain. He seized his helmet full fain, and set it on his head, and thanked the host again.
sad was my sojourning, yet bliss be yours alway. May he who ruleth all right swiftly ye repay. To her, your comely wife, commend me courteously. Yea, and that other dame, honored they both may be, who thus their knight with craft right skilful did beguile. And yet small marvel 'tis of one, through women's wile, befooled shall be oft times, and brought to sorrow sore, for so was he betrayed, Adam, our sire of yore, and Solomon full oft, and David too, the king, by Bathsheba ensnared. Grief to his lot must fall, since women these beguiled, 'twere profit great withal. And one might love them well, and yet believe them not, for all the men on earth had these the fairest lot. All other they excelled neath heaven, if they, God wot, be mused, yielding themselves to wile of women whom they used. Then, and one be beguile, I hold me well excused. But for your girdle good, may God the gift repay. I take it of good will, not for its gold alway, for samite, nor for silk, nor for its penance fair, for worship, nor for weal, will I that token bear. In sign of this my sin, the silk I still shall see, and riding in renown reproach me bitterly. Of this my fault, how flesh is all too frail and fain to yield when sore enticed, and gather it to stain. Thus, when for prowess fair in arms I yield to pride, I look upon this lace, and so more humbly ride. But one thing would I pray, and so it please ye well, Lord, are ye of this land where I while did dwell with ye in worship fair? For this reward be told from him who sits on high, and doth the world uphold. But tell me now your name, no more from ye I crave.
That truly will I tell, so spake the baron brave. Burned like the Halp desert, so men me rightly call. 'Tis she, Morgan le Fay, who dwelleth in mine hall, who knoweth many a craft, well versed in cunning wile. Mistress of Merlin erst, doth many a man beguile, and many a dreary dear she dwelt with that same wight, who was a skilful clerk, and well he knew each knight of fame. Morgaine, the goddess she, so men that lady name, and none so proud shall be, but she his pride can tame. She sent me in this guise unto King Arthur's hall, to test your knightly pride, if it were sooth withal, the fair renown that runs of this your table round. 'Twas she who taught me the craft which ye so strange have found, to grieve Gaynor the queen, and her to death to fright, through fear of that same man who spake a ghastly sight, before the table high with severed head in hand. 'Tis she, that ancient dame ye saw in this my land, and she is Anne thy aunt, sister to Arthur true, born of Tintagil's dame, who later Uther knew, and gat with her a son, Arthur, our noble king. Therefore unto thine aunt I would thee straightway bring. Make merry in my house. My men to thee are fain. I wish thee as well here on faith, Gawain, as any a man on earth, for true thou art and tried. But yet he said him, nay, with him he would not ride. They clasp and kiss again, and other each commends unto the Prince of Peace, and there they part as friends on mould. To the king's hall, I ween, Sir Gawain rideth bold. He gat the knight in green, where'er he would on wold. The wild ways of the world Sir Gawain now must trace a horse. Of this his life he now hath gotten grace. He harbours off his horse, and oft I ween without, oft ventured bold in vale, vanquished in battle stout, such as at this same time I care not to recall. Whole was the hurt upon his neck withal, and the bright belt of green he wear about him wound. E'en in a baldrick's wise, fast at his side 'twas bound. Neath his left arm the lace was fastened in a knot. This token of his fault he bare with him, I wot. So cometh he to court, all hail the knight so true. We awaked in those halls when as the dwellers knew that good Gawain had come. Methinks they deemed it gain to greet the knight with kiss. The king and queen were fain, and many a valiant knight would kiss and clasp him there. Eager they tidings ask, how did his venture fare? And he doth truly tell of all his toil and care, of the green chapel chants, the fashion of the night, the lady's proffered love, last of the lace aright. He tells, and on his neck he shows them as a brand, the cut for his fault he won from that knight's hand and blame. Grieving, he speak all way, and groan for very shame. The red blood rose that day into his face like flame.
Lo, Lord,
So spake the knight, handling the lace so fair.
so here the brand of blame that on my neck I bear. Lo, here is the harm and loss I to myself have wrought. The cowardice, covetous, in which I there was caught, this token of untruth, wherein I was held fast, and I this needs must wear as long as my life shall last. For none may hide his harm, nor may that be undone. Once caught within a snare, the net is ne'er unspun.
The king, he cheered the knight. The courtiers with their lord laughed loudly at the tale, and sware with one accord that lords and ladies all of this the table round, each of the brotherhood should bear as baldric bound about his waist a band, a badge of green so bright. This would they fitly wear in honor of that knight. With one accord they swear, these knights so good and true. And he who bare the badge the greater honor knew, the best book of romance, and that 'tis written all, how in King Arthur's days this adventure did befall. The Brutus books thereof I trow shall witness bear, and since Brutus the bold at first did hither fare, whose fathers the assault and siege of Troy did share, I wis. Many have been of yore the ventures such as this. Christ, who thorn crown bore, bring unto us his bliss. Amen.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Cowboy Classics with Scott Paladin. Our work tonight was Gawain and the Green Knight. Translated by Jesse L. Weston. Produced, edited, and read by Scott Paladin.